Like we have this is that's what I need.
I know, I need to get a little
I was in like Shafira and she's gone, and I was kind of like, oh, I didn't do this guy. Yes, oh my gosh, absolutely. And we got, we did the boat club, so we can take a boating.
Wow.
I'm looking expensive, but people are
Hey, dear.
so I highly recommend it. It's just like a movie. There's different levels. We did the highest level because we want a big if you want to have a stick on Minnetonka,
It's $7 a year.
and have a boat
I usually rent too, like I'm being a dad right now.
Yeah, like a really good dad. They're fat.
We've had one weekend if you want it.
Proof of life photo.
We have. No, it's maybe smart, and people do the weekend. It's the weekends you get a little trickier, and then you get stuck on the traffic. If it rains, you have to. I know one on Saturday. We actually got it for some. So we got lucked out. So I think so too. I know you actually not. And we did July 29th. So we have a tournament next year. The nice thing is that it's 2 seasons. I'll be honest, we can go hardcore for half a year. And then my team is tired after that. Anyway, so then next year we have to do a boating. So really fun. I want it. It's like 15 people, and it's a big speedboat. And there's
One that has like a dome.
yeah, I mean they're big, but like it's open house. I mean, you have to get tested. The guy doesn't drive, and I can drive. I mean, really, they make it so like just kind of like float in and like catch it.
Oh my god, that's
Okay.
amazing. I always like wonder.
We're gonna do a little filler
But you, if
now.
you want to just do weekdays,
Filler is better for lower face, right? We're going to use Restylane products. We're going to use a couple of their new products. So Restylane Lift is the product that has the highest amount of ability to actually lift tissue. Okay. So when they look at fillers, I look at fillers as like, is it a good smoother? Is it a good lifter? Does somebody need a lot of volume in an area? Is it in a very thin-skinned area, like under the eye? Because all of that changes what filler we would use. So Trish has some volume loss, particularly in her mid-face here. You can see some loss of volume here. And her cheeks have fallen just a little bit. The apple of her cheek should be up a little bit. So right now her apple of the cheek is in this quadrant. We kind of want to move that center back over this area. And we want to add some volume in this area to help provide some support to that tissue, which will help kind of plump that up a little bit. So for this area, we're going to use Restylane Lift. Restylane Lift is really good at pushing tissue up and preventing it from kind of falling down. So we need Restylane Lift in that area. We're also going to put a little filler kind of in these smile lines, mesolingual folds we call this. Here you want, fillers have come a long way in this area in the last like 3 years or so. I think this area was one of the areas that was overfilled a lot in the past, and people started to get kind of squared out and weird looking, right? I think you don't need a lot of filler in this area to make it a nice subtle improvement. The newer fillers also incorporate really nicely into the tissue so that when you smile and make expressions and move, it moves with the tissue as opposed to being like stuck in a tissue and moving like this. It bends and flexes as you smile and move so that it doesn't look weird with animation. Sometimes when people smile with filler, especially too much filler, they look really weird and cat-like a little bit. So we're going to kind of do one, we're going to work side to side, and then we're also going to do a little bit of their lips. And so Trish has got decent volume to her lips and good structure to her lips, but you'll see that we're just going to add just a little bit to her lips, kind of fill out some of that volume without going over the top and making her look puffy, like two tubes stuck on her face, toothpaste tubes. Okay, so we're going to start in the cheek first.
Is that the only way to get rid of like this stuff that starts going on?
The corner of the mouth droop.
Because I don't necessarily want to like lips.
Yeah,
Because I
yeah.
think it would just change the look of my face, and I don't need.
But you don't want like a downturn.
But yes, I'm starting to feel like what is going on right here, like the corner of my mouth.
Emily, you're pouting
Just
too
wait.
much.
It helps. It does. He did just like build like a little part where it doesn't make your lips bigger, but it
Right. The weird things that start happening, it's like, oh, it's exciting. All the new stages of life.
Yeah, there's like 12 of them. So like,
I'm like, I should have started using AirPods.
I do wish I would have started doing
yeah, so
basic
like 20
hygiene.
minutes right beforehand.
So,
like, and then it's like,
The other thing I think that's important about cheeks in general, so if you lift the cheek, it makes the line around between your nose and your mouth less, right? It makes that more subtle. It also helps pick up some of this tissue that's lower in the face. And so everybody looks at the cheek and thinks this is the cheek. That's not where the cheek is. So when people feel this area, that's when women start to get kind of a really weird, square, kind of almost masculine look, and it gets too much under their eye. It pushes up funny. Like Courtney Cox had that, like where she looks really, really odd. It's because somebody put way too much filler right here. And so when she smiles, you see this big bunch under her eye. What's that?
Can you undo that?
Yeah. So the nice part about these fillers is they're all made up of hyaluronic acid. Hyaluronic acid there's a product called hyaluronidase. So if you ever had a problem with this type of filler, it was lumpy, it was bumpy, it was too much, you just didn't like it, whatever it is, you can inject the product, it will dissolve. And it's pretty instantaneous. So we're going to start in Trish, and we're going to actually start way back here. So we're going to start filling the cheek from lateral to medial so that we don't get a ton of filler here. We want to concentrate getting our cheek back into that position. So we'll start
yes, Adrian.
So is this a full syringe on one side?
I usually, yeah. So depending on the person, so you can see what it is. So depending on the person, you can, if you don't have a lot of volume loss, I'll oftentimes split a syringe between two cheeks. If you've got a little bit more, and like what I really want to save some for Trish is down in this lower face area. So I'm going to use a whole syringe on each side. So I'll use one side, we'll go to the other side, and then we'll kind of work our way forward until.
Botox to support will make your muscles that makes more contractions. Yeah, that's
These fillers that we're putting in now will, this particular product, at least in their study, was out to a year, so we know that Restylane Lift will at least last a year. If you look at the studies in comparison to some of the other products that are very similar and it's kind of makeup, those studies went out to 2 years. So these higher lifting fillers tend to last a long time. And we also put it in an area that's deeper and not with a lot of motion. So like this lateral cheek's not going to move a lot, so it tends to hold filler a lot better than, like the worst is the lips. Like you're talking all the time, you're moving your lips. And so those areas typically don't hold filler very well at all. The other product, Restylane Refine and Define, are the new products from Restylane, and those should last about 18 months. So I'm continuing to kind of march around Trisha's cheek here, and I'm going until I can see just a change on the top of her skin.
How is that feeling?
It feels fine.
I didn't have a beard over my head. So it's nice to know that it's not.
The other thing that these fillers now all have lidocaine in them, so she's going to start to get numb as it goes. So as we continue to go. Now we're getting to that part where I really want to
Yeah, I see the one too. Oh, yeah. Yeah, this happens in the like this was just now it's out for like 2 weeks. Yeah, like this will be
You'll see 1 to 2 days or 3 days.
How far are you on the list for?
I'm not sure yet, but the more patient I am, I think the better.
We were gonna change our names.
Yeah, and the next time they
Because
came
my
in,
Kristen and Sarah, we felt
me.
like we should be Kristen and Sarah.
You should have.
So, without being super weird, we've only put in a half of a cc of filler in her right cheek, but if you come and look at Trish straight on, look at where her right cheek sits in comparison to her left cheek already, and that's only a half a cc of filler on that side. So now we're gonna start filling this little area that's kind of down below.
No. You don't want to be in the way of the camera, though. I know.
It's such a tiny needle that you barely
I'm gonna switch to a new one.
It is.
There's like in the.
You see it?
Yeah. This is good.
So we're gonna start working this area.
I think the nasal labial folds are the most impressive.
yes, they just disappear.
Like that side is gone.
You can see the surface of the skin. Watch the surface of the skin under the needle, and you can actually just watch it get fill up. No, this is going in under the skin.
On the cheekbone, did you do it on the muscle?
I did it all the way up onto the bone. So the bone that sits here, the zygomatic arch, if you use that, this filler will push off the bone and lift the tissue up. So this filler gets placed deep. Some fillers get placed really superficially, but it's actually not painful to have it placed deep at all in that area. So it's really
Once you get past the surface, it's all good.
Yeah. Like you were saying, like whereas it's
Yeah, that's
like
nice.
yeah, you have to wait a little.
Are my horns done yet?
Yeah.
Yeah, you look good.
Or my kids.
Yeah, try to do it. Just to make it
I have a before and after my crow's feet.
But I mean, already you're not
My face.
2 days.
Do you have to mold it?
They're all
I like to kind of just feel. I'm actually not molding it very much. I'm just feeling. There are areas I do mold it, like under the eye is an area I mold a lot. This area, you can press in a very thin skin area. You can smash it down. And like here, I'm feeling for if there's any lumps or bumps that are going to develop, and there aren't any. So again, this cheek is amazing. It probably sits a good, I don't know, almost half a centimeter higher than your other cheek, and the volume. So look at this fold compared to that fold, and I haven't done anything to that though. All I've done is lift her cheek.
Wow, that is amazing. That I can see for sure.
Yeah. That's actually crazy.
Your left
Right?
side looks 20 years younger.
But like,
crazy.
that's the part of like.
You didn't
that's
inject in this area?
Uh-huh. All I did is lift her cheek up so that it doesn't show. It doesn't take much.
Look at you haven't even used the whole thing, have you?
That's the full syringe of that. So just hold that gently where you're gonna get that.
That was a lot of injecting.
Wow. Oh my
That's because I think
Look at her right now.
That's because I think there's like people who think that you need a lot of filler. You don't need a lot of filler. You need a little filler placed in the right spot, and then you'll have the result that you want. So I think it just
This right now is like herb. This thing is like, you know, it's amazing.
You've had this before.
Trish is always the model. She works this party just for this. And she doesn't have any pain receptors, so she's a perfect model.
She doesn't flinch.
Yeah, I know.
It really
She's a little. She actually likes the feeling, so it's.
She pays you to do it, right?
So now I'm thinking, okay, well now we got two sides, right? And not every face is symmetric. So people always say, well, how do you know how much you're going to use on the other side? And her face has actually a little bit more volume loss on this side than the other side, so I'm actually going to save a little bit more filler for the lower area to help with that. And then when we move to the next filler, I'll put some other, I'll kind of work on these folds a little bit more to help erase those areas. I wonder if we should do the whole one side. So that's all the way down to the bone area.
Yeah.
Again, I just go until I can kind of see the change in the skin.
No, not at all. You're fine. No, you're totally fine.
You look like your mom's a little better. How do you stay so calm?
really good.
She likes it. It makes her sleepy.
It doesn't hurt. Should drink Mr. Wine first.
Kind of Valium on board.
I really enjoy it.
She's highly medicated.
Damn near under it.
She's here.
Do people have to do that though sometimes?
I do have one person I give some.
Just get so worked up?
I think it's just because they have a fear of needles.
Yes.
So everybody's fear
Way more fun to talk to.
is pain, number one. And two, not many people love needles, so the thought of getting multiple shots is the thing that usually keeps people from wanting to take the next step to do it.
It's the smallest needle.
It's not bad. After people do it, they generally say it's not that bad. Not everybody. So I like to serially kind of come along with that. This side of her cheek, her fold is worse than the other side to begin with, so we know we're going to have to do some other stuff.
They have one side that's worse than the
Yeah.
other.
All right, finally found my picture of my crow's so far.
Are you freaking out? This is your line?
That's my crow's seat.
Your eyelashes look bomb in both pictures.
They almost look more bomb than
Is
before.
that both eyes? So this
Yes, that gets rid of your crow's seat completely. At least mine.
So he's injecting
That was like after like a week, so I think they.
Well, and right now I'm serious after that treatment. You're already
Did you see my before and
on.
after my crow's feet?
I've seen it, but I love this picture.
So silk is like a very thin HA filler. The lift is a lot thicker, more lift capacity.
Did he just do your up here, or did he do your?
He does that, yeah. I'm up here. I should make your before and after. I'm your model. My eyes actually look really green.
They look really green.
I don't think they're
You
actually
should make the
green.
book, the before and after book.
Before and after look.
This is where
I would paint my needle before the drawing.
What time is that at 7?
7.
What time is it?
6:30.
What were you saying?
I have to bake money before the time that 7.
Cool, let's do it now. I'm a believer. I already signed.
You
already got me. I should give somebody else a front row seat.
Yeah, no kidding.
I just have a question.
I got to go my mom said it hurt.
I'm gonna blame it on you, actually, even though it's so often.
Don't even have my watch.
What's that?
Thanks, Ray.
How was it done?
So this filler is gonna last for at least a year.
I've never done it. That's impressive. I do just, like I told you,
I told you.
but the filler, that's incredible. I'm gonna.
Okay, what are you doing then, Dr. Waddell?
I'm doing a little filler. We've done Trisha's cheeks already, and we've done her medial labial fold, and I'm gonna put a little in her lip.
Okay, this is what I'm really interested
And Trisha's good structure to her lips, so we want to be really careful that we don't put too much along this ridge. I'm going to just put a feather amount in there, and the reason is because duck lips are when people put too much along the ridge, right? So you gotta be really careful. You want to. Trish needs a little bit of volume in this part of her lip. We call it the pillows or the body of the lip, right? And maybe just a little to help define her lower lip. And when you do that, that'll roll a little bit out on her lip, but it's not going to make her look ducky.
That's what
I don't know what else to
That's
do.
what my fear about doing my lips with
That's the other Ethan. And we have the same name too. I know. I should go say hi to Ethan.
That's a really small amount in the lip.
Can I stand over here? Just
You can stand, you can come right in.
well, it's like, okay, so it's just a little lip right on the top.
How's it going?
We're not gonna win like Noel's.
She's gonna just the difference you can already tell. Amazing.
Scared to move my mouth.
Yeah, I would be. I got a needle in. So this is another area I massage a lot.
Yeah.
Because I like to work it down. I don't want a big, I want a little bit of that structure. And remember that lips swell right instantaneously. So what you see now, I've put barely any filler in her lip. Right? But like I'm not going to like put any more along that ridge. That will come down some still. So what you see now will come down some. So you gotta.
Yes, all the fillers I was using
Why do
today
some
are
of these
AJ.
women have wrinkly lips?
All women you lose some.
I mean, after they do all this fillers.
Most of the time you don't. In fact, a lot of these fillers, like this one that I'm currently putting in, is going to hydrate the lip. So somebody who has like really wrinkly lips to begin with, if you put filler in, hyaluronic acid draws water in, and it'll hydrate the lips. So like this product that I'm currently putting in is Restylane Refine. It's a little bit softer than the Define, but it's going to help soften the lip lines. So as that filler pulls in water, it hydrates the lip, and then it makes it so that you don't.
So will her lips be bruised?
Yes.
For how long? You gotta hide, right? With
No,
the
I mean,
lips?
they do bruise a little bit. They're not as bad as you think, though. Despite being vascular, they're not that bad.
That's all I want to do.
So I'm also going to put a little on her lower lip. So this is where I think she needs a little definition along the lower border of the lip.
So whatever you're putting in her lips is just for her lips, it's not for other parts.
Yeah, it is for other parts. So like, we used a lot of the Restylane Define up in her medial labial fold area in here. And that's a great filler for mid-face. And we also put a little in her upper lip to help give it a little bit more structure.
So once you start doing your lips, do you have to continue?
No.
Like
But you'll want
something
to.
weird happened to them, they'll stop?
No.
They'll just go back to, they'll just go back to
Let's go
the.
back to where they were.
You will walk.
Oh, no, I know, that's what.
So you can see, I've only done the one half of this lip, and you see how it rolls a little bit more red lip out without puffing it up to like a toothpick.
Yeah.
So it depends on how, like you can be subtle, or you can be
So do you do the lips the same on everybody? Like, is that
Now,
what you would do
doing now?
now?
What's the injection
I
you're
like
doing now underneath?
I know the
I
rest.
just
really
filled
know
that
you
to
need
mine.
to have
Like that?
like
Yeah.
fat that you can
The
grab
same-
onto.
because he has-
With the same stuff.
He has guns left
So
over,
I
so I feel like it's gonna be.
Yeah, I just didn't know if different product had to go into different areas of your
It does,
face.
it does. We use different, we use better, thicker products, lifting products out in the cheek area. We use softer products
Yeah, like
in the
like I
eyes.
wanted to do
We
it
use
to like
softer
try it out.
products,
and they're like,
usually I
you
use
don't
a
have
softer
enough
product in the lip.
So like,
You want it to feel right? When you kiss
Yeah.
somebody, you want it to feel like your lips. You don't want to feel like you're mushing up against some
good. But I mean, also
Whatever
there's
the hell.
things I need and stuff like that.
foreign
I
ass.
don't know how much you know about having a baby, but there's a lot of stuff that
I'm trying to see if I want to.
I heard some stories last week and my friend just had to
I'm
be.
gonna let you look at it, Trish, and tell me if you think you want
sounds
to.
awful.
Do you come here for other stuff?
He was
Is
like
that
the
what-
huge
works here.
graphic detail. Oh, you do? I've never seen you telling these stories right now.
Right.
You remember they're swollen now?
Yeah.
So this part's gonna go down some.
I just trust you.
Yeah, I was just like,
Okay.
hair away.
That's your first thing you're gonna
But that's nice they asked you. In case you did have an opinion. I would not be just like.
So it looks like it's almost instant that you can see
It is
her
instant.
lips.
With that,
Wow.
the filler is
Put a little in the corner of your mouth. I'm not
It
gonna
would
put
have
more.
thought before.
The baby's
It
head
would
was
have
already
come
out.
more. I've been here since the beginning of this.
That's normally.
She used to have like lines right here, right here, like, see these?
You might have been there when you were
They're not. It's all.
Yeah, they would.
And then it'll puff
They
a little,
basically have come
so,
into pole.
right?
It
looks so
swell
natural.
a
The
little.
entire time.
You need to hold my swell a little in the.
I'm trying to watch the injection now. I heard something that made me have to like what the
Like the doctor
It is,
I tell like the baby was already like crowning coming down. And she was like,
It is. And I'm not type of everything.
the doctor comes in last second.
Watch it, ask questions.
I mean, like they explain to you
Research
the
it.
definition of stress.
Then I heard, not freaky.
That's like what the
I know everything about it.
So-
I've seen somebody do it.
I like to kind of, sometimes in women especially, I like to kind of frame the jawline a little bit.
I think crowning is called crowning. It's a little bit.
So what are you doing right now?
So this is a common area. I'm gonna put a little to support this area, but it doesn't like.
Just like slid in and was like, oh baby. What the hell?
Because she didn't eat like what, so.
I don't want to put any more in her lips.
Yeah,
She doesn't
yeah.
want like huge lips.
Yeah, her lips are.
Oh no, your lips
I
are.
thought her lips were beautiful to start with, and now they're. But now
Hold
they're.
that right there. So I'm gonna put the pre-gel sulcus. So I guess when anyone ages, men and women age, you start to, as this part of the cheek comes down, and we've kind of lifted hers back up, you start to see a deficiency in a lot of people, like right here.
It's not the same as that.
And so I like to.
Is that what that is?
I thought it was gravity. I thought it was jowls with
It's a
gravity.
good way to put a deficiency.
No, you don't get much swelling. The lips swell.
It is.
But he said deficient.
Pre-gel
Sulcus.
sulcus.
Oh, I got the jowls. So.
So
We like to support that area to kind of make that area look a little bit.
it depends on when you get treated, right? So if you get cheeks done, you can go out that night and like, no one even know. Your lips are very vascular, so you're probably gonna swell within 24 hours, 24 to 48.
You've done your
Probably
lip,
have
and she's done
bigger
lips
lips.
before, right?
No, I would do mine.
Oh, you don't need to do your lips, or you've already
that's what
done
I'm
those,
saying.
yeah,
I would
okay.
do other things. Prioritize. I prioritize.
So like under eye and lip,
Yeah.
it's very vascular. So like,
Really?
oh yeah, you have a ton of vessels that run right out our oral rim. So like the likelihood of bruising is higher in those areas.
Oh yeah. Well, I need to start with this.
But you're a girl. You have cover up and all that makeup stuff that you can use. And,
Yeah.
so
true.
yeah. But swelling lips are the only really area you have to worry about swelling. But even that, it's like.
Even though you're talking
Hold on a second. Hi, Rebecca.
Yeah.
Are you
I just studied.
kidding me? I love you. I'm the biggest fan.
So that, does she have to like, does she have to keep massaging that?
No, I love that. I love that.
My son's
Does
girlfriend.
she have to keep doing that
No.
after you're done, so it doesn't?
I'm doing it just to feel.
Will you ever like days later get lumps in it? or-
Extraordinarily rare.
He's the best. Having guy time.
And
I
there's
looked
a
at you and I'm like,
there's a dissolver if that
And
happens.
I'm like, geez, familiar, and I just.
I'm just feeling to see if there's any.
Relax, I'm like,
It's never happened to me.
Yeah.
Have you done this before?
Yeah. Oh, I thought you were like.
I feel like I know you. Hello. No, my family, my husband's gonna die.
Have you done your lips before?
He is gonna die. I wear on Mondays.
because
No, he won't watch.
He just do the first time, like.
yeah, he's probably the bad guy.
Why are you watching?
But I had to tell
You still felt them in there today.
Hello.
Jesus, seriously, I'm so freaked out. Like, I'm like 60 years old, and like, yes. And Big Ticket High made me like that. I think that's true.
Oh, what time is it?
But I wear the thing that my girlfriend sells.
Where's the sound machine?
Monday nights are for the Bachelorette and wine.
Our sound machine is Lori.
I feel like I
Tell Lori to run around and just.
Sorry.
I was a little too close.
That's a good
Sorry.
This is my favorite.
Ready? 1, 2.
She might want higher. Come on. Don't you know a woman's?
Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. You even have the
Oh my God, you're the
procedure in the back.